What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your local problematic Leo, and as you can see, we've got another Colourpop swatch video for you guys. I picked up a bunch of singles a while back. In fact, I believe that this was their latest singles launch, and they've just kind of been sitting here because the holidays and Notaweho on the gaming channel has just eaten up all of my time. In addition to that, I actually went ahead and picked up 3 Sydney Grace singles. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, I have this crazy obsession with red shimmers. In fact, I went ahead and picked up the Jackie Aina palette as well as the Huda Beauty Nude Obsessions in Rich, just because they had really good red shades. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to Colourpop, this is like their selection of red shimmer shades. This is as close as we could possibly get. In fact, there was one more shade that was discontinued that I actually tracked down on freaking Mercari because I was like, I need a red. And this is actually BPM, so it's like a red coppery shade. That's the closest that they get when it comes to red shimmers. So I want to actually go ahead and put that up against this Sydney Grace red. I was like, okay, I need that in my life. So let's go ahead and get those knocked out real quick, and then we'll go ahead and jump into all of the Colourpop stuff. And as we can see, we've got a selection of warm nudes, then we've got some kind of like purpley based things, and I'll get into the story of those in a bit. But my absolute winner when it comes to all of these is the shade called Queen of Hearts. This is like the red shade of my dreams. However, if I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not the red formula of my dreams. This is actually considered a pressed pigment. Like, oh, look at that. Just look at the bloodiness. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's just, there's something like powerful with a strong red shade, and I'm about to like put this over my wrist. So like, it's not meant to be like that, I swear. But look at the power of that red. By the way, this is all natural light that you're seeing here. I've just got 2 windows right that way and right that way, so there's no tricks. There's no primer on my wrists or anything like that. This is just basically how it is. So that is Queen of Hearts by Sydney Grace, and it is just the most beautiful, potent red ever. Let me go ahead and put that up against Colourpop's BPM, because right now that's my favorite red shimmer from Colourpop. And it just like, I mean, like really? Like that's all that red shimmer is. It's not a bad red shimmer, but it's definitely more along the copper lines of shimmer, so you can see how much more intense that Sydney Grace one is. And you know, part of me is like, all right, that shimmer is a pressed pigment. I do have to use like a glitter glue to make sure that it stays on. And even then it's still a little bit finicky, but the color is just so perfect that I'm just not gonna say no to it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is Princess Pepe. You'll find that with these Sydney Grace colors, there's like a little bit of a royalty theme going on, but you know, don't mind that. So let me go and swatch that real quick. And I have wiped my finger clean. I do have a color switch over here, but as you can see, it's this like dark violety red. It's really pretty, and I'm gonna be honest, when I put it on the eye, it looks a lot more red than it does in the actual pan itself. As you can see right here, it looks very purple. But on the wrist, it still looks very red. I don't know what it is, if it's like the combination of my skin tone. I'm gonna go in for another dip to intensify it just a little bit more, see if we can get more purple in there. But I always feel like it looks kind of reddy. It looks like a winey red tone. Just don't be fooled. In fact, when I picked up the pan, I was along the lines of like, oh, this is not what I expected at all, but for some strange reason, it worked out quite nicely. So the last shade that I'm gonna go ahead and pick up is actually one called Lost Princess. So we've got Queen of Hearts, we've got Princess Pepe, and we've got Lost Princess. Like I said, we've got a little royalty theme going on with Miss Sydney Grace, and that's why I kind of picked them all up. This is way more copper, so as you can see, it's definitely on the coppery end of the spectrum. It looked more red on the website, but it's definitely a very pretty red copper. In fact, it's a more red copper than BPM from Colourpop. So yet again, Look, okay, so this is Colourpop's BPM. It's still pretty, don't get me wrong. It's a very pretty wearable, well, more wearable shade than the rest of these, but this one's Princess Pepe. So you see the intensity, and I believe that these are all pigment shimmers. So I guess they're pressed pigment shimmers. I'm really not sure what the difference is because I always thought pressed pigments were just made for mattes, but apparently you can do them for shimmers as well. So for me, overall, I really like the Sydney Grace colors. Like I said, the formulation's just a little bit more finicky, but the color payoff is just absolutely amazing. So once again, Queen of Hearts, Princess Pepe, and then Lost Princess. Now let's go ahead and jump into the Colourpop swatches. Okay, so editing Rob popping in here with a little bit of a voiceover because apparently past Rob is terrible at vlogging and did not know he was covering up the mic the entire time. However, these are the final swatches that you will see at the very end of the video. First and foremost, I didn't want to keep you guys waiting, and in addition to that, the natural sunlight was coming in and coming out, so I wanted to go ahead and bring you guys outside where we had a little bit more stable lighting and to a place where you guys could get an even closer look at all of these swatches. So if you guys are curious as to what order these appear in or you want to see them swatched live, stay tuned. I'll also leave the names listed down in the description box below just in case you guys are curious. Alright, so I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I do have some other palettes kind of sitting off to the side here, and that's because I wanted to go ahead and potentially do some visual comparisons, maybe not like a full-on swatch comparison, because I own so many palettes and I tend to gravitate towards the same colors over and over and over again, so, you know, I can't like color compare every single item here, but I can give you some visual comparisons just in case you guys are curious whatsoever. So let's go ahead and scooch these off to the side real quick and get myself a little bit more space so that we can go ahead and take a look at some of these shades. Because here's the thing, I will keep these shades out on my table just so that I'm forced to not put them in palettes because I might forget that they exist. Let's go ahead and start off with the warm nudes over here because I definitely have some color comparisons in my head. So as we can see, let's go ahead and start things off with this shade, which is called Full Send. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a focus. Can we get a focus? Are you focus? So let's go ahead and start things off with Full Send. Now Full Send is a very yellowy color. It reminds me a lot of things like, what is it called? This one right here, Running Late. Very similar, as you guys can see right here. It's kind of like a pale yellowy peachy tone. And I'm sure that I've got a couple other ones that are very similar as well, but you know, one can never have enough like soft peachy yellows. In fact, this one kind of comes off a little mustardy, just a little bit. It almost reminds me, ooh, wow, it is much more like orangey than I realized, wow. Like maybe a lighter version of Koi. So I don't know if you could see it there, but it's like this kind of like matte, yellowy, peachy kind of tone. I'm sure if you sheared it out, it would be like really nice and soft on the lid, just to give you a little bit of that, but that is Full Send. Alrighty, so next up we have Mambo, and it's this kind of like terracotta-y shade. It reminds me a lot of this shade called Top Notch, which is a pretty popular one, except for in real life, because I don't know if the colors are reading. This one is actually reading a bit darker. So let's go ahead and see how this one swatches. Ooh, that is, okay, definitely lighter than Top Notch. Top Notch is far darker than that one and a little bit richer. So this is kind of like a mid-tone version of Top Notch, but it is reading like a terracotta leaning orange, kind of like a dustier orangey terracotta color. It's really pretty. Could definitely use that one. So next up we have Good Thing, and it's kind of like, It reminds me of Sea Stars, which is definitely one of my favorite shades, but it's a little bit redder. Sea Stars is a little bit more yellowy. Can I see if I can find Sea Stars? Here it is. They're about the same level of tone, like depth, at least from what I see, except as you can see, Sea Stars is way yellower, and this is kind of like more orangey terracotta. So let's see how that compares to Mambo, because Mambo is also kind of terracotta-esque. In fact, if you look at them together, they look very freaking similar. Let's put them side by side. There you go. So as you can see, Mambo looks kind of like a little bit dustier, a little bit more orange. I know it's blurry, but you can kind of still see the tones. And this one seems a little bit more browny. So let's go ahead and compare the two. Let's make sure I'm super duper like wiped off there so there's no transfer whatsoever. Oh, yeah, that is way more brown. That is way more brown than Mambo. So let's swatch them next. I'm glad that I swatched them next to each other because you can definitely see the difference between the two. So Mambo, now that I'm looking at it, looks more red-orange. It's so weird that when you swatch certain colors next to each other, they will almost make the other color look completely different. But yeah, this one comes off a lot cooler, and Mambo seems a lot redder. So that one, again, was a good thing. And I like it. It's a good thing. All right, so the next... All right, so the next shade on the chopping block is Pretty Please, and it is this like cool brown. Ever since they released the Coconuts palette, and there's actually several other brands that have been doing a lot of cooler toned browns. I've been on the search for some really, really good ones from Colourpop, so I'm glad I can finally, you know, take this out of the frickin' package and use it. As you can see right there, it almost looks a little bit grayish on camera. That's kind of nuts. It is kind of grayish in real life too, if we're gonna be completely honest. So, ooh. That's really nice. I'm not sure if you can see that. That's super duper cool toned. Like brownie leaning a little violety, like a little hint of purple in the brown to kind of like cool it down. Oh, I love that shade a lot. I'm glad I finally got to this swatching video because now I can actually put it to use. All right, so next up we have Zing. And if I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a pretty like nondescript brown color. It seems just kind of like neutral, but if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I've had several shades like this before that are fairly kind of like neutral light browns, but when you actually go ahead and swatch them, they look completely different. By the way, if lighting is changing, I do apologize. Like I said, I'm working with natural light, so the sun is doing some crazy fuckery out there. But let me go ahead and give this a swatch and see if we can get some undertones in here. Okay, so it's basically like a peachy nude. That's what we've come to. It's definitely on the warmer end of the spectrum, and it's pulling very, very, very peach. It's about the same intensity as Zing, as you could probably see, but it's definitely on the peach end of the spectrum. This actually reminds me a lot of, let's say, something along the lines, wow, the sun is getting crazy intense, of Issues. So it's gonna be along the same lines, but I feel like Issues is gonna be chalkier. So this is Issues and this one is Zing. I feel like, wow, the light is just completely blown out. No, sun, why are you doing this? Anyway, I feel like Issues is gonna be a little bit lighter and chalkier than Zing is. So Zing's gonna be a little bit better if you have kind of like a deeper complexion as opposed to Issues, which is very bright and light. All right, so I'm really excited over this next shade. It is called Finesse, and it's kind of like this deep neutral brown. It seems to have like some sort of shimmer in there to kind of potentially make it easier to blend, because I don't think that this actually will impart that shimmer shine, but it feels like a more neutral version of Feathered, and Feathered tends to be a little bit more plummy, a little more red, as you can see right here, while this one is like a tad bit more neutral and maybe even slightly lighter. But one of the things that I've kind of been straying away from lately is super, super dark colors, because in all honesty, I don't know, unless like, ooh, this one's really buttery. Ooh. Okay, so here's the thing. As you can see, it's a really, really dark shade. Feathered is one of my favorite color tones. However, the issue with Feathered, and the issue with a lot of the darker shades from Colourpop, is they tend to be very dry. So this feeling super duper buttery, I'm actually very excited about. Hold on, let me get some space. Ooh, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, I really like it. It definitely, you can see a little bit, it's like this is maybe a little bit satiny. You can definitely see maybe a little bit of the shimmer in there, but I think that from far away, you're not gonna be able to tell. But yeah, that's a beautiful shade. And the thing about it is it's so smooth. It reminds me a lot of, I believe is this, what shade is this? Because there's one really, really dark shade that's pretty smooth too, Cloud 9. Cloud 9 is also very smooth, but as you can see, it's a very dark, whoa, don't let me gouge it, plummy brown. It's almost, this is what I would use instead of a black, because black can be too intense, but this is really rich and buttery. These two have very similar formulas. It's very buttery. As opposed to like Feathered, I think that there's like another really dark red called Facet. Those two are very, very dry shades. This is buttery. So if you want, grab yourself some Finesse, because that's a fantastic formula and a really, really beautiful shade. So this next shade I am super duper excited about. It is called I See You, and it's like this dark plummy shade. I don't really have anything in my collection that I could compare to this. It's very, very close to maybe Cloud 9, but Cloud 9 is definitely more neutral. It has more of a brown base. This looks very, very purple. But I feel like it'll be handy to kind of like deepen up some of those more cool toned looks. So let's see. It looks like it might be a little bit like ashier too. When I say ashy, I mean like it's gonna be a dusty shade instead of like a super duper dark shade, but we'll find out when we swatch it. Oh my God, it's so pretty. And it's also buttery. It's a little more powdery than the other one, but it's definitely got that buttery smoothness to it. Ooh, that's a nice cool toned dark purple. I really, really like that. And it's not like an obnoxious purple. It's kind of like a grayy purple. Super duper into it. I want to make sure you guys get as much of the color as possible, because really, it's absolutely beautiful. I like that one a lot. Oh, I'm putting it in the palette. Okay, so this next shade I've definitely played with a couple times already, and it's called Mariposa. It's this kind of like grayy purple shade. It's kind of like a mid-tone, but it's got sparkles in it, and the sparkles, I don't think you can really see it on the camera. It translates too well, but it is actually this kind of like pinky rose goldy tone. It's very, very pretty. Like, it looks pink from certain angles, and then depending on the light, it'll kind of like reflect back a little bit rosy pinky. It's so freaking pretty. So let's go ahead and get that swatched. Oh my God, I just tilted it and it caught the light, and it's super shimmery shiny. Now, with these ones, they tend to do better when you kind of like pat them in, or at least the sparkles tend to stick better when you pat them in. I don't really care because I like the main tone of it, but I don't know if you can see the sparkles in there. I don't think that, I'm catching like 1 or 2 sparkles, like especially in the darker tones. I'm like cranking my arm all weird directions. But legitimately, it's a really, really kind of like pinky purple, a mauve, I would say, with some pink sparkles that can kind of lean. Oh, you can see them there. Oh, it's so good. It's really, really nice. Not everybody likes sparkles in their mattes. I'm kind of growing to be okay with them though, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Now, all we have left are these shimmers. So what I'm actually gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go wipe off my arm, and then I will be right back and we'll go ahead and take a look at these. Okay, so I realized I only had like 4 shades left to swatch and I've got all of this space up here. So I just went ahead and changed my camera battery and we're just gonna finish up on my arms. So let's start with this gold shade just to kind of break up the purple brigade that we've been having. And this one, listen, I don't know why I picked this up because legitimately, I don't need another kind of coppery gold. This one is called the Vibez. But I was thinking that, you know, maybe it might be a more neutral kind of like copper goldy color, and it's kind of not. It's just like the standard copper. I believe that this is their foily formula, which is very, very flaky. So you can get a lot of fallout with it if you're not careful. Here's that shade. It's very, very metallic. It's really super duper pretty, but this is definitely one of those ones. Ooh, it's very buttery. Oh, it's pretty. It is very pretty. Holy fuck. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do a back of my hand swatch comparison because I've got it. This seems a little bit peachier and a little pinker than most of the kind of like shimmery versions that I have of that. I kind of really like that. I'm kind of like turning my arm to give you like the full dimension because you're getting a lot of light from the sides, but I want to give you the full dimension of that shine. You know what I mean? You're getting a lot of that metallic-iness. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna toss it on the back of my hand and then kind of like compare, because I could have sworn that this was gonna be like several other shades, but this is actually really freaking pretty. This is more peach than a lot of the other coppers that we have out there. Let's see where we can start that I feel like is a good, no. Oh shit, I'm a piece of shit. I thought that this was gonna be way more of the same than I already, you know what, Up and Atom. This is Up and Atom's gonna be fairly close. Up and Atom is a discontinued shade. Oh no, this is way more yellow. So, Up and Atom is a discontinued shade. Yeah, but it's kind of like the same intensity. It's similar, but you can see that this one, which is the Vibez, is more pinky peach, while Up and Atom is way more orangey. So definitely not the same shade there. I'm not getting as much of the pinky peach vibes. I might actually go and dip into a gold real quick, which is gonna be called 20 something, because I know that this one is a bit of a peachier gold. Oh, this is like bugging me. I was over here talking shit, and guess what? Oh, by the way, I don't like the formulation of 20 something, just in case. It's peachy, but it's definitely not as dark as the Vibez. Okay, the Vibez, I will say, it's good. But the only thing that I do need to point out is it is very like flaky, so you might get some falloutiness. Can you see the texture that's on there? That's all of the things that might fall out. So you're gonna want to use a glitter glue on it. Like, I'm not sure if you can tell, but you can kind of see the texture on there. And then on here, it's much more smooth. These two are much more smooth formulas. But this one, I do feel like has a good bit more shine. All right, the Vibez. I was wrong. You're beautiful. Let's go ahead and move into the next shade. Now this one, I was actually really excited about, and then it kind of came to me like, I want to say half broken, like there was a chunk coming out of it. It's called Call You Mine. And it's a dark purpley shimmer. As you can see right there, it's like burgundy wine-esque. It, you know, it fulfills my I wish you were red fantasies, but you're not quite. But I do love these kind of shades just like all over the lid, and then have like a mid-tone kind of blending them out. It's very soft. Ooh, it's very soft. It's that same flaky feel, and I kind of have to press it back into the pan because it is very buttery, very movable. Oh, it's so pretty. It's like a deep dark purple, and then it's got a little bit of like hot pinky reflect into it, but it's just the sheen, so it doesn't come off like hot pinky. Well, I don't know what the camera's gonna tell you, but that's what I'm seeing there. Ooh, it's like almost a brown purple. I love it. It's so freaking pretty. The closest thing that I think that I could possibly get to this is actually a shade that's discontinued. Let's do another back of the hand one. The back of the hand is just gonna look all types of messy, yo. So I feel like it's gonna be, I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I'm a liar. The only thing that I think would come close is another discontinued shade. If maybe you've had it, it's called West Star. Actually, does Princess Pepe look like this? I don't know. So this one, it's this shade right here. And it's called West Star. It doesn't really look like much when you've got it there, but I'm gonna get into it because I really do like that shade. Oh, this is gonna be much more brown. This is much more brown. Okay, so if you have West Star, so here is, what is it called? Call You Mine. It's definitely more purple. It's definitely got a winey tone. Call You Mine is more brown with a purple sheen. So you can kind of see the difference in there, but very gorgeous shade. Just keep in mind, it's really fragile and it's really squidgy. Next up, okay, this shade. This shade I thought was going to be the replacement for a shade that they discontinued, and I never understood why they discontinued the shade because that shade was labeled one of their best sellers, and this one is called Sugar Sugar. It's kind of like, I want to say it's kind of like a nudie purple. It's like taupey-esque, you know what I mean? It's like in that kind of like, it could be brown, it could be purple, it could be, you know, a lot of different things because it's very like nude. Again, it's that same formulation that is very movable. You'll get lots of fallout with this. And when I saw this, I was like, holy shit, that is going to be the replacement for High Strung. Now, I have swatched them next to each other, and they're not. But as you can see, it's a pretty... See what I mean? Like, it almost looks gray browny, but, like, when you catch the light, it's very, like, purpley mauve-y. You see what I mean? It's very, very, very pretty. And it's nice all over the lids. But let's go ahead and do another back of the hand swatching. And I'll compare it to High Strung. High Strung is one of my favorite shades of all time. So let's put you here. And I currently have High Strung in one of my palettes, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be their version of it. So again, really, really pretty purple kind of like reflect to it, but also kind of nude at the same time. And here is High Strung. See, wait, if you look at High Strung, right, and you look at these two seem very, very similar. But High Strung is actually a different formula. It's not as flaky, but it's far more rosy. So it doesn't even look rosy, but here, like, I wish the camera could capture everything. This looks more like a cool tone pinky purple. Oh, and now the sun's changing directions. And now High Strung is looking like a brown smear of poo on my arm. Fantastic. But believe you me that this is more of like a rosy pinky tone. See, everybody wants you to like film in natural light. And guess what? This is what natural light does to you. It betrays you. So cooler, lighter, more shimmery. This one is more like rosy, browny, nudie. I'm trying to give you all of the reflex at once so you can kind of see what I'm saying. And the only other shade that I think I could compare to either of those two is maybe Snake Eyes, if I knew where Snake Eyes was. But I'm a bit of a mess, and I tend to lose everything. No, here's Snake Eyes. So again, we have like, so this one is High Strung. Oh, this is High Strung. Wait, no. Oh shit, I put the other one. See, they're so similar that I literally effed it up. So there's High Strung. Going back, this is Sugar Sugar. So this is Sugar Sugar, and this is Snake Eyes. So you can see Snake Eyes is definitely more silvery in tone, but they both have that same kind of like flaky formula, and they're kind of the same when it comes to intensity. So let's go ahead and take a look at how Snake Eyes compares, because I know that this one is a very, very popular shade as well. So again, this one right here is Sugar Sugar. This one right here is High Strung. So let me go ahead and just swipe that on there. Okay, so what I'm gonna say is Snake Eyes is just like slightly less purple. It's more on the silver end of the spectrum, but they definitely kind of all exist within that same kind of nudie taupey kind of thing. And I believe High Strung is discontinued, Sugar Sugar is still there, and so is Snake Eyes. So that's going to be the last one for you. And this final shade is actually an existing shade that has been around for a while, and it is actually called Mr. Sandman. Now this one has been a favorite by a lot of people for a long time, and I don't know. I was willing to give it a shot because, again, I was kind of like looking for a taupey brownie shade, and I was hoping that this would be it, and it's kind of not. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, it's got a purpley base to it, and it's got like a blue and pinky sheeny reflect. Unfortunately, it's not really a shade that I'm looking to add into my collection, so I feel kind of bad. But I wanted to, you know, experience the thing that everybody else had been experiencing, to kind of at least have some sort of level of comparison and to kind of know what they're talking about. I don't even think you can catch the blue sheen in there. The camera's not catching it at all accurately, at least I don't feel like. Oh, there you go. There you go. I gotta, like, put my arm in a weird way. So you see how it's very, like, kind of like icy, bluey, sheeny, and then you, like, change, and then it's like this pinky purpley tone. Oh my god. Very uncomfortable, but the things I do to get you the visuals you need to get. So at least you know that that is definitely like a duo tone shifting color. You can see how like crazy deep it gets, but the reflect is really strong. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that Mr. Sandman is what, oh my god, I think it was called Miser, was supposed to be in the previous release that they did, but Miser was just that really, really, really ugly terracotta brown, instead of, you know, an actual nice tone, and then they put a blue shimmer on top of it, and it just looked, you know, dégoûté. So that's at least my opinion on that. Regardless, let me know how you guys like this video, if you guys enjoy me musing about colors. If there are any color suggestions that you think I should pick up from Colourpop. I usually pick up Colourpops because, you know what, they have like the BYOPs, and it's really, really convenient to kind of get your hands on all of them there. And I still want to get, there's a couple shades that have definitely been on my list to pick up. One of them being Now and Zen, and then the other one being Big 3. I think both of those are kind of like duo tone shades, and one kind of shines yellow, the other one shines green. I don't know why I'm trying to pick up a green, because I really don't look good in green. I've kind of like come across it. It's not necessarily the greatest look for me. I'm trying to like arrange this prettily for you guys. Regardless, those are the shades that we've got going for you guys today. I don't know if the light will let me do it because sunlight hates me. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know if you guys would like to see more. What more would you like to see? Maybe I could swatch all of my reds for you. Maybe I could swatch all of my golds. Like, we have palettes upon palettes upon palettes upon palettes full of all of these singles that literally I have accumulated because Rob needs to have all of them and basically just build my entire collection. So that's it for me for now. Leave any feelings down in the comments below, and as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I look like a cat, like massaging something. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. That was weird. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Let's do that. Bye-bye.